I'm going to have to, what I think I'm going to do actually with the last video that I did and this video is I'm going to amalgamate them into clips, and it'll be like, there'll literally be like 50 ideas in one video. So let's just try and take something from all the live streams we watch and put it together and help each other out. Honestly, a lot of people can say, well, why should I share my, well, you're helping somebody else keep their fish healthy. And if we help each other keep our fish healthy, then everybody will have healthier fish. Fish stores will be doing much better because they won't have people coming back with a bag of fish in their hand going, oh, my fish died, I want your warranty. Instead, they'll take their fish home, a month, 6 weeks after they've set up their first tank. It's cycled beautifully. It's going good. They'll put their fish in, and their fish will live happily ever after, as opposed to taking dead fish back for warranty constantly. So it'll help keep our hobby better. And with all the there's a lot of good things and bad things that come from all the information sharing we have. We can share good information. We can use platforms to help each other. But there's also people in this world that just want to use platforms to hurt other people's ways of lives. People use platforms to express their opinions of how we should live, on how we should keep our pets and everything else. So there's good and bad in that. The good part of it is it's going to make us work harder. It's going to make us work harder to make sure that our pets don't suffer. That's very important, and that's one good thing they've come to do. A little less shaming. They could do a little less shaming. But if we can keep our pets healthier, it gives our hobby a brighter light in the world. It gets less negative things for people to say about our hobby, whether we are helping to keep our fish healthier, keeping them from passing away. When we can participate in a CARES program and help keep fish from going extinct in the wild, when we can practice our captive breeding strategies better, our captive breeding programs, how we do things, if we can make them better so that we don't have to take as many fish from the wild, again, just makes us look better in the hobby once again. And we'll do this by sharing our information. So this is the good point of it. And so let's just keep sharing our information on your guys' live streams, on my live streams. If everybody does it, then we'll be styling. And you have a little trick for us. I used to do this trick since a long time. So you basically take a plastic plant pot and drill a hole in it, and voila, you've got a great hiding place for fish. Yes, that's exactly true. And if you want to take it just a little step further to make it maybe a little more natural looking, I do that with clay pots, and I'll drill a hole out on the end. Not everybody has the ability to drill clay out, but if you do, that works very, very well as well. And a lot of fish will actually spawn inside of them. In fact, that's what my clownfish lay their eggs in now up in my main saltwater tank. They lay them inside a 4-inch clay pot. So yes, clay pots are great. Plastic pots are great. Plastic would be much, much easier to put a hole in. I would just maybe try to clean up the edges of it a bit, the same as I do with the clay pots. You can leave very, very sharp edges with the plastic or clay. So just clean them up a bit. If you have a little sandpaper, give it a little wipe around, and you won't have to worry about that scratching or damaging your fish. My temperature gun. Shoot it right at you. Hopefully that didn't wreck my camera. But I could tell you that my computer monitor is 97.5 degrees Fahrenheit just from doing that. Tells you right here. Where are we? There we go. Get some light. But you can change it from Celsius, Fahrenheit. It's incredibly accurate. You don't have to put it in your fish tank. Like, you literally, if I want to check the temperature of the 180, that's literally what I do. That's what the 180 is sitting at.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I guess, you know, I'll start with the most important thing in the fish room, little fish dungeon. It's kind of in pieces right now, but really two of the most important things are right here. I got them out right there, you know, to kind of stress the importance, in my opinion, of water changes, you know. Um, Now I don't have anything fancy schmancy for water changes in here right now. I don't have any automatic systems, but you know, just a good old bucket and you know some hose will save you so much headache. You know, just start a little siphon. If that's all you have, just do that. So that's my big thing I'll start with. And you know, something I'll touch on as I go through what I have in here is you know, the fact that I live in such a remote area, of course, right? So I'm going to go through kind of how I source my stuff and save a lot of money doing it. If you think that's a good idea.
Yeah, by all means.
So this stuff is exactly the same thing as you would get in any aquarium store, but I get it at the hardware store. You sometimes you have a hard time finding this at the big box stores like, you know, Home Depot and those sorts of places. But if you go to like the more smaller places, like the more rural places like Ace or something like that, you can find all kinds of stuff. In fact, that's where I got this for way cheaper than you would pay in an aquarium store. And this as well, airline tubing, same thing. And even some really specialty stuff like this really huge, you know, thick stuff. Again, you have a really hard time finding stuff like this at aquarium shops, you know, based on my experience. And if you do find it, you're going to pay a lot for it.
Now, some of that stuff you'll find in the plumbing section of a hardware store, and some of it you'll find in the heating and cooling section of a hardware store, depending on the type and size of line you're looking for too. So if you can't find it in the plumbing, have a look in the hardware or in the heating and cooling section.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Welcome to the stream. Lava Rock. Excellent. So everybody start typing what Lava Rock is good for. I will come up with a couple and let's see. So for a lot of people, what they don't know, Lava Rock is quite commonly used in aquariums. I think a major benefit of lava rock is that it is extremely porous. Extremely porous, all kinds of holes, and what that does is create more surface area, and the surface area will hold more bacteria, and that's coming up to Griffin's point right here is filter, and lava rock is fantastic inside a filter, whether you put it inside a canister filter, a hang-on back filter, a sump. Many people fill their sumps with lava rock, and that is because there's just so much great surface area for beneficial bacteria to attach to, and helps keep your water extremely clean. Decoration. It's used for decoration a lot. It's used as hiding places for fish a lot. I don't know what else. I'm actually I don't believe lava rock changes the water chemistry. I believe it's a fairly neutral product. Someone can if someone wants to check that for me. I'm not 100% sure on that fact.
I do here is I don't think that you can't call it true DIY CO2 injection, but it's certainly much cheaper than doing it with these fancy systems that you get from companies like ADA and UNS. You know, that you pay for that name, right? So these are just paintball canisters. This one's not hooked up right now, so I don't freak out when it fell off like that. This is a dead soldier. Actually, it's half dead. Anyway, this is just a regular old Titman CO2 canister that you would use for paintball, right? And you can look online and get all kinds of these CGA 320 adapters, these things, right? They're like, I don't know, $8, maybe $10.
Okay.
And then this regulator is a very basic regulator. It doesn't have any built-in bubble count or anything. This is manufactured by I believe, a Chinese company named Go Aqua. And these things are really affordable. They're like, I don't know, $15.
Oh, wow.
You know, let me move it up here. Sorry. They read the pressure in PSI. You can see this thing is actually almost full. And, you know, the regulator's got a little, I guess, what would you call this? A flange or whatever that unscrews, you know, and you mount. Yeah.
That's a press fitting.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
So you unscrew this and then put your airline on, you know, through this hole and screw it back on, and it's not coming off at all. And, yeah, this is way, 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 way cheaper than.
So do you just take those to a paintball shop to get them refilled?
Exactly.
And what's that cost?
One of these to get it refilled, $5.
Oh, there you go.
You can't even buy a 3-pack of those little tiny disposable ones from Fluval for that.
No.
And this, I mean, if you have an aquarium like this, or better example like this, like a 15, right? Or even better example, these sad, dry 40-gallon breeders right now. We're going to change that soon. But even if you're doing something like a 40-gallon breeder, and you're just, you know, got some rotalas and crips and stuff in there, nothing too crazy, man, all you need is a trickle.
Shrimp like lava rock too. They again, I think it has to do with the surface area. The surface area of the lava rock allows a lot of biofilm to grow on it, and the shrimp will pick away at that all day, and it will give them a food source that they actually require. Biofilm's not a food source for ornamental Neocaridina or Caridina shrimp. It's a must. Biofilm is a must in their tanks. Without there's something in biofilm that I think just keeps them ticking, and without it, I don't think they do very well. So you can feed your shrimp once a day or once every couple of days, however people decide to do it. People are very leery on water quality and fouling their water quality with rotten food in the tank, so a lot of people don't feed as much. But if you have natural occurring biofilm in your shrimp tank, your shrimp are grazers. Your shrimp graze all day long. They eat very, very, very small food particles, and they want to graze as long as the lights are on. They want to be grazing. They even graze after the lights are off. So biofilm provides them with that natural diet that they would have had in the natural in nature. And I also believe it helps keep their digestive systems on track with having that constant micronutrient diet coming into them constantly. I'm going to pull out one of the most simplest things. A styrofoam cooler. I have to back up a bit. Sorry for that terrible audio. A styrofoam cooler. A fish cooler for transporting your fish.
Yep.
Now, it seems very simple and very, I don't know, that you shouldn't have to think about it, but I don't know how many times I see people walk out of a Big Al's or a pet shop or my basement or something, and they didn't bring a cooler. Bring a cooler if you're going to buy fish. There's a couple of reasons for that. It's not only just to keep the temperature the same, which it is. It does a great job at that, but it's completely black and dark inside that cooler, and your fish aren't going to get stressed out and wigged out on the way home. They'll just chill right out when it's dark. They'll just think it's nighttime and morning will be here soon. So take a cooler with you when you're going to buy fish, and that is a juice jug. Now, I do prefer the juice jug for a lot of different reasons, and that's because it's got a spout. It's easier to pour, and the other thing is fish bags fit right into this juice jug perfectly. So when I put fish bags in the juice jug to put fish into bags, hold your bags up really nice. Another thing would be a milk pitcher. for bagged milk. I know our Americans, I don't think you guys actually get bagged milk in the States. You get it all in jugs, but we get like 3 liter or 3.5 liter bags of milk, and we have milk pitchers for them, and they work fantastic for that application as well. So that's my first. Streetwise wants to know if either of us have a net that we especially like.
I actually do. It's a really cruddy net. I don't remember where I got it from, and it's one of those favorite nets. I use it so much that I lose it so much. Like I can never find it. Like, where is the net?
My favorite net's got holes in it.
We call it the net.
I'll go and get it.
This is just a crappy black one. It's I don't know. It's about 20 inches long. That's why I like it. No cardinal tetra can escape it. I mean, no fast fish can escape this thing. So I'll put it up here for comparison. Let me flip this camera around first. We'll wait for Jesse to get back before I crash the stream trying to flip the camera again.
I have 3 favorite nets, so I can't just pick one.
Oh man.
So let's see your net, Jason.
There we go. All right. So it's not a fancy net, but I found it, somewhere, some probably big box store. And the thing is massive. It's super, 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 super long. So
oh yeah.
So it's way, way, way longer than I need for a 40 breeder or anything like that. And it's a pretty good size without being obnoxious, like if I put my hand up next to it, that's a good size. I have large hands.
That's a baby net.
I know.
So I have the same one right here, Jason. This is my favorite baby net.
Oh man.
Same one. That's my baby net. This, I gotta sit back a bit. This is my, say, fish up to 6 inches net. And that's my favorite. It's full of holes. It's almost actually falling apart. Same with the bristlenose pleco babies out of a 90-gallon tank. That's my favorite net. And then for my 180-gallon tank, where I deal with some fish, sometimes up to 12, 13 inches, and it can be very hard to catch, I actually went and got a pond net. It's a huge pond net, and I love it. It's made life so easy in the big tank. Just get in the net. No messing around, no playing around.
Nothing's gonna escape that.
So this powder, and that's all it is a powder, is like superfood. That's all it is a powder. As you can, don't spill it. It stinks. But spirulina is an algae powder. And like I said, it is like an absolute superfood for fish. Fish love it. Not only do fish love it, food for fish love it. So when I was raising I still am harvesting rotifers, but while I was harvesting rotifers and I didn't have the proper supplements from where I got the rotors from, I used spirulina powder and they lived. If you mix spirulina powder and a little bit of yeast, it's a fantastic food for Daphnia. It's fantastic food for rotifers. If you want to raise brine shrimp past the juvenile stage into sub-adult or adult brine shrimp, this will do it. If you mix this in your salt water and maintain water quality, this will do it. This is the superfood of green foods. So my fish room, I have 2 or 3 of these containers around. I have found some cheaper places to get it. I haven't purchased it in a long time, but I used to purchase it on the Wish app. If anybody, I have a video about that as well, actually, long time ago, very old video now. But I have a video about purchasing, and it was like $5 or $6 on the Wish app. That's my next tip right there. Headlamp.
There you
So
go.
I work with a lot of fish that like to live in caves. Caves are dark, and they're really hard to see in it. And then especially if I'm looking for babies or if I'm moving stuff around and I want to use both my hands in the tank, I don't want to hold my cell phone there. By the way, I'll say the flashlight on the new iPhone 11 is garbage. It's terrible.
It is.
My flashlight on my old iPhone 8 was way better.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, why it's so bad.
Is Prime. Some people like Prime. Some people don't like Prime. I like Prime. I don't find it expensive. A lot of people find it expensive. It is super, 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 super concentrated, and it lasts a really long time. So I also use this. This is the Big Al's version of their water conditioner, and it's big and it's fairly inexpensive too. Why I like Prime over this one is that Prime, I can actually fill, like I have a 180-gallon tank here. I do usually 40% water change on it when I do a water change. That's a lot of water. So I run it straight from my tap, straight into the tank. I set the temperature at the top, and I just put 3 caps of Prime in the tank, and I know it will dechlorinate up to like 160, 170 gallons of water. So, and I can do that as I go. I usually, when I start, I put 1 cap in. 5 minutes later, I'll put another cap in. 5 minutes later, I'll put another cap in. I swirl it around, and it also acts as an ammonia blocker. Now, I don't buy it for that reason, because I don't believe in chemical removal of ammonia, because it comes back. It will come back, and what that does is messes with your water chemistry a bit. So you're better off just not to have ammonia in your water. Have a good cycled tank and not have ammonia, and just use this as a dechlorinator. That's what I use it for. Now, if I'm going with the 5-gallon buckets and just mixing 5-gallon buckets as I go, so like a lot of the time when I'm pumping water into the 180, I'll keep buckets in front of it. I'll use the Big Al stuff in those buckets, 1 cap for a 5-gallon bucket, and I'll do other tanks as that tank is filling. So Prime, it's huge on my list. Yeah, I got the directions right in front of me. 1 cap full is good for 50 US gallons. You can do up to 5 times normal dose, and you will not hurt your fish. If chlorine and ammonia levels are low, use half a dose. What it is for quilting, I think, crocheting or quilting or something. They're mesh sheets that you get at the dollar store, and they cost you $1. Or if you're at the $1.25 store, they're going to cost you $1.25. I don't know what inflation's like right now, but I can't keep up. But these work for so many things. One instance, I use them as a guard around my power head in my saltwater tank, so my anemone doesn't go in and get splattered across the tank. I use them for intake covers. If I'm using a different kind of filter, say like a matin filter in a tank, and I have smaller fish in that tank, I'll cut out a little circle of this, and I'll put it over the intake filter. I've made egg tumblers out of this stuff by using that on the bottom, making the sides just have a bubbler go underneath. Endless dividers, tank dividers. You need to divide a tank up. You can put moss through this and put it in the base of your tank. As many people use a mesh screen, you can use a plastic screen too, just under the sand. So for $1.25, it's got an awful lot of uses in a fish room. I usually keep about 5 of them on hand. Again, this is another dollar store item that I've modified. So what it is, I think they're made for like office supplies to go in and stuff. I don't know. Yeah. They got a little handle on them on this end. Well, I go and I just take some styrofoam and some fishing line, put styrofoam on both sides of it. And now for larger fish, because they have these holes, but if you have smaller fish, you could always MacGyver your mesh in there as well to cover the bigger holes. If I need fish caught for the next morning, really early in the morning, that are going for sale or going to an auction or something, I'll catch them the night before, put them in these, float them in the tanks. They don't get out. Easy to bag the next day. If I have fish that are getting picked on that need to be separated from the rest of the fish in that tank, use this, float it in the tank. Not going to get picked on anymore. Again, going to cost you $1.25 and about 5 cents of styrofoam, and you have a floating isolation unit in your tank for your fish. Mills. You'll see I have 2 here, and they support different food. I have a couple because I'm doing 2 different. This is for my clownfish babies. I have like 5 different types of food mixed in there, and I pulverize it in this. It's down to an absolute powder by the time I'm done, and it's perfect size for them. This is my pepper mill for going around the majority of the fish room for my smaller fish. I break bigger pellets up into smaller pellets. I put a couple of different blends of pellets in here to give my fish a varied diet. What I'm also able, if I have different size fish in the same tank, what I can do with this is I can set it, and some small pieces will be broke, some bigger pieces. That way all the different size fish will have a chance to have something to eat that fits in their mouths properly and gives them proper nutrition. So pepper mills for me they're used absolutely every day. So that is a huge item in my fish room. All right. So a heater, yeah, a lot of people wouldn't even think of that. A heater in your what we call it, your holding tank, your RO.
Yeah, your RO basin, basically your basin for your RO water. As it makes it let's be honest, these RO buddies are so slow.
Yeah,
that water's plenty warm by the time as it fills up. You
can literally probably turn the heater on an hour or 2 hours before you wanted to use it, and it would have it at temperature for you probably.
Yeah. I just honestly, the strange thing is, once that thing's full of water and it's up to temperature, that heater almost never comes on.
Yeah, it just maintains
once in a while. Right, exactly. But once that water's cold, right, and it's sitting on the floor like that, and you're just using the heat in here, oh man, that's like 2 days to get it up to room temperature. The
concrete's just pulling the heat out of her.
Exactly. You're fighting the foundation. Good luck.
Yeah. Next one. Ooh, it's still wet. Toilet brush. Obviously unused in a toilet. This toilet brush I use for cleaning out my rotifer bucket. Any buckets you have for keeping live food and you need to scrape the walls of it or anything, this is the brush. You can also use it on glass aquariums if you use it very lightly on, if you have a lot of algae on the silicone seams and the corners. You can use this brush very lightly on the silicone seams, and it does work actually quite well at getting algae off the glass of your aquariums as well. The toilet brush, people, get with the toilet brush.
What I have here, and then more importantly than what I have is where I get it, and this may help you even up there. This.
Oh yeah.
Levamisol.
Oh. Yeah.
Levamisol hydrochloride. Let me see if I can. I'm sorry. Oh, there we go. I'm a terrible cameraman.
You're not going to get that over the border legally, my friend.
No, this is a no-no up there.
I have some actually. PJ Menestas, who was just on the chat there, he's my veterinarian. He got it for me. Yeah, he's a fish veterinarian. So I had to order it through him. That's what we have to do in Canada now. You guys have it great. You can just order whatever you need.
Well, you can't. I mean, I mean, it depends. States are almost like miniature little countries, right? Depending on what state you're in, you have state laws that you have to abide by. You can also find yourself on the wrong side of an even worse force, and that's the feds, right? When the feds go after you, oh my God, it's over, right?
I've watched the movies.
Yeah, yeah, you've seen the movies. Now, where do I go up here in the U.S.? In fact, in Washington State and Texas, any state I've ever lived in, to get stuff like this. Now, levamisole. This is called Levamed, but it's levamisole hydrochloride, right? That's what it is. And this is the packet contains 46.8 grams. Yeah, so it's the whole packet is 52 grams. And 46.8 grams of it is levamisole. So it's almost pure. It's pretty close, right? I get that without a prescription or anything like that by going to my local tractor supply company or my local farm store or whatever. And what you do
For
is
sheep.
you head for the sheep dewormer, the cattle, they'll sell syringes. They'll have weird little helpful fluid mixing bottles, all kinds of cool stuff. And unless it runs contrary to your law where you are, you'll almost certainly find some levamisole. You'll also find fenbendazole there too. Now, I haven't found flubendazole. That's very, very hard to find in the U.S. Flubendazole is much better than fenbendazole for a fish because fish have to eat fenbendazole, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fish do not have to eat flubendazole. They do not.
They just be in the water column.
It absorbs right through their gills, right through their skin, pow, and it's very effective. Now, what's another thing they don't have to eat? Levamisole.
No,
they don't have to eat
water
that.
column.
Now, what doesn't levamisole kill very well, though?
What doesn't it kill?
Yeah, eggs.
Yeah,
Eggs.
true enough. They need to cycle and become living creatures before. So levamisole needs to be on a 2-week cycle.
Exactly. Now that's where a flubendazole excels above all others. It absorbs through the skin. You don't have to eat it, and it kills the eggs. So just one treatment. So
would be a TDS monitor. The TDS monitor is it doesn't tell you what's in your water. It tells you how much of whatever is in your water is in your water. Zero TDS water is perfect water. That should be perfect RO water. My RO unit never gives me perfect RO water. I still have, about sometimes up to 20 TDS in my RO water, which doesn't bug me at all. That's perfectly fine. But when you're checking tanks to see, also with some of my tanks, I'll know how much, let's say, organic waste buildup is in the tank or in the water, how much of it is in my water column. This will tell me. If I set up a fish tank with my tap water I put in is 395 ppm, which that's what it is. It's terrible, I know. But if I go back to that tank, in that tank, the tank water is telling me I'm at 460. Well, guess what? I got some organic waste built up in my water column that I should probably get out of there. Or if you're adding ferts, if you're adding fertilizers, you want to know how much fertilizer you've actually added, this will tell you. So this is such an important tool. It doesn't tell you what's in your water, but it does tell you how much of something is in your water. I'm having a hard time here. There we go. Alder cones.
Oh, nice.
Alder cones. They're free, people. Just go outside and get them. Alder cones reach throughout North America, Europe, Scandinavia to Costa Rica. It's sorry, my computer wants to keep restarting on me. Alder cones are so beneficial in your fish tanks. They add awesome tannins, antibacterial properties. If you're having a hard time getting medications, you're noticing a lot of bacteria flare-ups in your fish, in your tanks. First, start doing some water changes. Second, add a bunch of alder cones to your tank. It will drop your pH a bit. It will color your tank a bit, depending on how many you put in. but I will guarantee you it's going to aid in fixing up those bacterial infections.